Good morning, Muscatine, and happy Wellness Wednesday. It is my favorite day. I am Autumn Schultz, one of the owners of Impact Fitness and Nutrition. I always like to start off by saying thank you to our sponsors. First off, Hy-Vee, Unity Point Health, Trinity Muscatine, Muscatine Power and Water, Becky Insurance, Toyota of Muscatine, Rivo Plumbing and Heating, Impact Fitness and Nutrition, Suntan City, Lutheran Living Senior Campus, Impact Life Blood Center, Harper Cycling and Fitness, and then of course our two newest ones, Muscatine County Fair and Bayer of Muscatine. So also tomorrow's show, which I will be on, we're going to be going to the Muscatine Community College and we're going to be talking to the Muscatine Police Department to talk about their Police Academy class that they've been doing all week. So be sure to tune into that. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. we will be there, and I'm very excited to learn about what they've been doing. You can also go to their Facebook page, and they've been showing some sneak peeks of what they've offered within this class week for the Police Academy class. Some events that are taking place this week. Tomorrow, the GMCCI Business After Hours is going to be at the Rule and Rule parking lot at 5 p.m. Everyone is welcome to come, especially if you're a small business, anyone that is part of the GMCCI and within the Muscatine community. Go and see everyone, network, have opportunities to do some meet and greets, enjoy some drinks, some snacks, some outdoor games. They're going to be doing some giveaways, so be sure to enter for those. And it's just a perfect way to get the summer started. So 5 p.m., Rule and Rule parking lot, downtown Muscatine. Make sure you go, celebrate, and have some fun. National days for this month of June. Of course, it is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. So be sure to go purple, whether it's at your house or in your business. Have purple, wear purple, decorate in purple. I know a lot of people have been doing some purple lights, so that's going to be actually happening at the bridge, and I know a couple of the buildings have changed their lights to purple, so go purple this month for June. Also, it is National Best Friend Day, and first of all, never in my life did I ever think that what's happening today would ever take place. And speaking of best friends, my guest today just happens to be one of my best friends. Not only just my best friend, but we also own a business together. We have an amazing son who's turning 2 soon, and he married me. So I am very happy to have my one and only husband as my guest today, who is going to be actually talking about stick mobility, which is something that I don't want to say that I don't know nothing about it, but he is the master within stick mobility in the state of Iowa. So I'm going to let him talk a lot more so than me, which is dangerous that I'm letting you talk more than I am.
I don't really know how to take that. I'm just one of your best friends?
You are one of my best friends.
Oh, okay. All right.
Monica might be on the higher chart of the best friend list, but yes,
right.
You are my best friend, and you're also stuck with me. But you're here to talk about stick mobility and what you offer within Geneva and how it benefits within our community.
Yeah. So yeah, this is going to be a fun day, I think. We'll do the best we can. Stick mobility is basically it's using sticks to be able to help you increase your stability, increase joint range of motion. I mean, there's a plethora of descriptions that you could go in. I've been known to call it assisted yoga. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is, I think we've all done yoga at some point in time, but sometimes the poses are a little difficult to be able to really be efficient in the movement. Mm-hmm. And so what the sticks allow us to do is to stabilize, maybe it's the upper body, our shoulders, and then isolate movement through the hips. So this is it's a great tool, and it's a great product. We're certainly happy to partner with the folks from Stick Mobility at Impact and offer these classes. I'm the only certified instructor in Iowa, which in and of itself is a little shocking because of how good this program is.
How did you start with stick mobility? Can you tell people about that?
I was introduced to stick mobility. This was in all the lead up into Impact. Some great friends of mine down in Scottsdale, Arizona, an outfit called Premier Fitness Systems, and they had stick mobility. They had the sticks down there, and I didn't know much about it until I was introduced to it, saw a couple things that you could do with it, started researching more and more, and it just fit with our Impact mantra of moving better and being able to, and movement over our max weight.
Yeah.
And you've heard me say this on the show before, if you move like crap, you're gonna lift like crap. And so with that, we have people strictly doing our stick mobility class. They wanna have better mobility, and we all do. We wanna get better range of motion. But we also, when we open up that range of motion, wanna create better strength in that new range of motion and create better stability. And that's what stick mobility really brings to the plate in regards to these classes. And we're super happy to be able to partner with Geneva Country Club in offering classes to our members. Right now we're just on Saturday mornings, but starting to gain a little bit more momentum. And it's, like I said, it's a free class that we offer to them, and instantly good feedback in regards to what it has been able to do for them. Now, does one class really get you better mobility? No. But the consistency of taking a class, whether it's a performance class, whether it's any type of workout, that consistency in working on mobility and stability really becomes more effective.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember when we were just doing stick mobility as just a warm-up.
Yes.
And I mean, it wasn't until we changed locations that we made this an actual class, and all of a sudden we see people actually coming now full-time just for this.
And with our athletes at Impact, we highly recommend, especially during the summer now where there's a little bit more time, a lot of the makeup of our membership is teachers or nurses at schools, excuse me. And so now they're able to get in not only three workouts in a week, but being able to hit a Tuesday or a Thursday or both and come in 5 times a week to be able to get our stick mobility and to see the instant feedback of, oh, wow, or oh my gosh. I mean, we try to limit the expletives, but every now and then we're able to get into a mobility posture that we couldn't do previous, and then we're able to do some other things just in regards to intensity of how hard we squeeze the stick, how much intensity we plant the stick into the ground. And so to be able to see people a little hesitant but then have their views change that quickly to say, wow, this is something I need in my life, that says a lot about what the product and what our classes have to offer.
I mean, when we talk about it, especially you're talking about pulling stick apart, we talk about 10%, 20%, 30%, all the way up to 100.
Yes.
That you can see it in their eyes that we're actually using the sticks. We're not just holding it, bringing up overhead.
Correct.
You're applying that pressure, and then all of a sudden you see that little eye spark.
Yes.
And they're like, okay, I know you're doing the work now.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the fun part of it. People don't realize, how amazing actually the product is. And when you cue correctly, and they understand that cue that you're trying to give to them, when they see that added, call it intensity of a stretch. I'm hesitant in calling it stretch. We do dynamic stretching, we do static stretching, but it's just not for stretching purposes.
Yeah.
There's always going something on with whether it's through your feet, through your hands, and
your
into the
body is
stick.
always active.
Your body is always active.
It's always interesting. We've had a couple people that when they walk past the mall and they'll see those, they're like, what are those? And so when we describe it, they're kind of like, well, that's just weird.
It is very experiential.
Yeah, you have to experience it to really, truly understand it and feel it.
And once you've done it once, though, I'll dare say you get hooked very easily. It's like, I have never been able to move my hip like that. And we're going to go, when we come back from the break, we're going to show you some of those movements that we can isolate a hip joint or isolate a shoulder. And our bodies are wonderful compensators. So why does my left hip hurt? Well, left hip hurts probably because you're overusing it, because there's something going on the right side. And we don't think about that. We just feel the pain. So, oh, my left hip must be really screwed up, or my left shoulder must be really screwed up. But what are we doing or not doing elsewhere? And with stick mobility, it helps us understand that a little bit more, that, okay, well, maybe I am working through this a little bit more, or I can't do this on the other hip. Well, there again, because you're not using it to its full effective use.
So at Geneva, every Saturday at 10:30, so it's for members, but also we're opening it up to non-members.
To non-members as well, just to be able to bring people in as well. And hopefully we'll be able to get outside a little bit more.
Yes.
We are in our fitness room at Geneva. We've been in other rooms as class sizes grow, but hopefully be outside here very soon.
As long as weather stays perfect, we'll enjoy it more outside.
Weather and bugs, probably the two biggest dictators of being able to be outside. Yes. And so, you know, when you hear from people that have workout experience and even yoga experience, and then they experience what they know, and then add stick mobility, to hear how positive their statement is in regards to, this helped me reach a different pose or a position than I've ever been able to access before. And so that's music to my ears. And then all of a sudden they start telling a little more people, and all of a sudden, I'd love to have 2 classes. I'd love to have more classes. But that positive feedback and, you know, of them telling other people is what it's all about then.
I remember when we first opened, and of course, me being a retired dancer, I was like, oh, I'm flexible, I've got great mobility, my balance, you know, I was very high on my little peak there.
Yeah.
And then when you introduced me to the sticks and you started realigning my body, I realized, oh, I don't have just a normal stability, I had the dancer's stability.
Exactly. And dancers are, I don't want to say different breed in regards to
we're a whole nother species.
you are a little different, and it's only in regards to body positioning. As an athlete, as when you're working out, especially through the hips.
Yeah, I would always open the hips.
You're opening the hips, and it's like, well, no, we need to close these a little bit more. And I know at the time you didn't really understand, but then once you started getting into a particular movement, whether it's a hinge, whether it's a squat, whether it's, you know, whatever that movement was, then it started clicking.
The body mechanics are a whole nother perspective.
Because with your dancing, you are also very biased to one side.
Yes.
You have a jump foot.
Yep.
And that is certainly more stable, but you're also working through that one a little bit more.
I
that
have
other side.
Yeah, a turning foot, a jump foot, you know, whatever is my leg lift foot, yeah.
And that other side needed some love. And so that's what we're trying to do. And yeah, you know, when you start trying to strengthen that weaker side, you go, oh crap, I don't like this. Well, it's because you haven't been using this side as much. And like I said, one time doesn't cure all. One time will open your eyes, though, in regards to what it can do. And so, you know, you start doing this, as I mentioned, a couple times a week, 3 times a week. Then all of a sudden you go, okay, I can do this now when I know just a few weeks ago I couldn't.
Yeah.
And where we're going to go today after the break is, so we have a lot coming up with, it's obviously golf season. And for me, it's tournament season. I know, we
You have a tournament every week.
Every weekend coming up in July after the July 4th weekend. And so what I want to talk about, and what I'll demonstrate not only with myself but you, is how we can prep our bodies. Do we need a stick? No, you don't, but we can use our golf club to be able to help out. I didn't bring a golf club today, but you'll understand on some of the shorter sticks what we can do to be able to say, okay, think of this as your driver and be able to do these things. We love to go trunk to tee, and that's what I call it. So think about maybe you're driving 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes to a golf course. You're going to hop out, you're going to grab your clubs, maybe go straight to the range, and we'll talk a little bit more here in a second, or we just grab our clubs and go straight to the first tee. We don't prep our body at all. So what I want to show is that we're going to get into a little bit of the biomechanics of the golf swing, and then we're going to show some, I'll give you some suggestions. If you would give me, if you knew that 5 minutes, excuse me, 5 minutes prior to hitting golf balls, or 10 minutes, one, could improve your life, but two, improve your golf game, would you do it? That's the big question. I mean, we're willing to waste a lot of time, 5 to 10 minutes prior to playing golf, but if we can utilize that time a little bit better and improve your golf game and really improve your mobilization and how that gets into your life, would you be able to do that?
It's really funny. So you're just talking about how, and I remember working on the golf course, I've seen 3 different types of people. I've seen the people that just go grab their clubs, get onto their golf cart, and go straight to the first tee. Yeah. Then there are some that go to short game and like just practice range. Yep. And then you talk about me being a different hybrid as a dancer. For you as a golfer, you get out of the car, you do your warm-ups right outside of the car with your practice clubs. I don't know what you call those.
Yeah,
your practice ones.
Good enough.
You do that, you do your hip drives, then you go into the short range. You actually mobilize, practice, then go play. Then there's some that are just play, then there's some that just practice play.
Exactly, and I think it's, we have this perception, you look at all the PGA Tour players, LPGA Tour players, Korn Ferry Tour, all of those, and yes, we go, oh, golfer's not an athlete. I would argue that until I'm blue in the face, because they are athletes. If you think for a minute that they just show up and then go straight to the range and then straight to the tee, you're sadly mistaken. I mean, they, as hard as they practice, as much as they play, as much as they're walking, excuse me, they're getting their bodies prepped for what they need to do during that day. And it is absolutely critical for their success to be able to do that. You think Tiger Woods now, and Tiger
I was just thinking about that.
And with all his mobilization issues, after his latest wreck and that right leg of his not being at full strength anymore, he has to really be able to get that prepped.
Yeah, the amount of training that he went through just to get back up onto that first game.
But he has to be mobile. He has to stretch. Think of our daily lives. Heck, we get out of bed and what do? We probably run to the bathroom and then take a shower and then put on our clothes, grab coffee and a donut, sit in the car, and then go to work, and then we sit all day. There again, going back to golf, what if we spent 5 or 10 minutes just mobilizing ourselves? I'll have some stats here when we come back from the break in regards to lower back pain. It's just not relegated to golfers. So, I want to get people moving. Stick mobility is the class that helps us approach and get people moving better.
Yeah, this class
it's just not working out.
And it's not just for golfers, this is a class for everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
So we are going to do a quick little stage reset. So we're going to go onto a break, and we'll see you with some stick mobility and activation stretches that we can do. Be right back.
Hi, I'm TJ Deere, General Manager here at Toyota of Muscatine.
Hi, I'm Megan and I'm from Muscatine.
My name is Logan and I'm from Muscatine.
Here at Toyota Muscatine, we believe in investing in our community.
And that's why all our members are local to the Muscatine area.
It's why we give generously to charities based in our city.
Because we believe that giving back means paying it forward.
That's why an investment in us is an investment in our community.
We just don't work out in a single plane of motion.
Here at Toyota Muscatine, we're here to serve.
When you buy a vehicle at a multi-brand dealership and it isn't locally owned, it can be difficult to get information that you need.
That's why all of our trained salespeople are focused on one thing, getting you the best deal possible on a new or used Toyota.
And when you pick your favorite, we will help you with financing and maintenance.
We love helping our neighbors.
Come to Toyota Muscatine today.
All right, we are back. So Scott is going to go over golf mechanics, especially just, when you're starting your day, if you're going to Geneva, Riverside, Muni, just something that can help you in regards to just feeling mobile before you take that first swing on the first drive.
Exactly. And so, the stat, the popular stat, and it's rooted in science, that it's over 70%, and I've seen figures as high as 80% that every golfer, 80% of golfers have low back pain. And so I would venture to say that 100% of the human population has had low back pain some point in their lives. And so, you think about the warm-up that we're going to do, and there's the biomechanics of the swing. So to have a proper swing, my swing is homegrown, but I know enough in regards to the mechanics of it that how our body moves and reacts, and how we can isolate that movement better will be effective positively for your golf game. And I'm telling you, we can also modify this for your work environment too. And so what I'm going to show you is the biomechanics of the golf swing. Now this is, a golf swing are like fingerprints. Not all golf swings are the same. And so what I do may not be what you do, but however, knowing body positionings and knowing how joint mobilization needs to happen, I feel I can use my body the most effective to the golf swing. So we're going to use the, before we get into that, these are the two ranges. We go a 7-foot stick, 6-foot stick, 5-foot, and 4-foot. Now, I'm just going to use this 4-foot stick as my golf club, and I'll try not to break anything or hit anybody in this. And so, actually, I'm just going to give this to you for right now, okay, without the golf club. And
this makes me feel really short next to 4 foot.
When we talk about low back pain, and we talked about this maybe about 4 to 6 weeks ago on the show, if you joined us then, we talked about disassociation. And what disassociation means is that if I'm in my golf posture, so feet are just past hip width, I have soft knees, I'm in a bit of a hinge, and when I come here, what disassociation is that how can I hold my hips still hip stability, and there's strength in that, and then be able to be mobile through the upper body. So here's my backswing if I'm a right-hander, and here's my through swing if I'm a right-hander. Do we have the ability to do this, or is it, do the hips move? Okay? Now, swapping those, can I hold my shoulders still and rotate the hips? Or do the shoulders go? Again, disassociation. For golfers, we want to be able to keep the hips still and be able to rotate. The other one that we've done, and this is one of the screens that we do, is being able to hip tuck, untuck the hips, and tuck the hips under. Now, I'm not moving like this to do that because my stability is good enough that I can move the hips. Those are three very critical things for the golf swing. Why is that? So, if I'm in my golf swing and I'm going to get into my backswing, what is happening? I'm trying to rotate through this right hip. I'm rotating here, okay? So what happens is that you look at, if you know, I know not everybody goes out and looks at videos on YouTube of Rory McIlroy and all the elite golfers, but they're elite for a reason because they can generate power. What they do is that they are able to rotate. There is a point that they stop rotating, but they stop rotating the hips first. The upper back is still rotating, and guess what? Now all of a sudden, they're starting to rotate the hips forward. They're generating power, and this is where that disassociation comes in. If you can only do this, we're not generating any power. Our goal is to get here. As we start the downswing, we want to be able to push into the ground here or push the ground away and be able to rotate through here as we get through our golf swing. And so they've done all sorts of measuring in regards to the biomechanics. They've had all sorts of sensors on golfers, elite golfers, and what they're saying is the most effective use of the body to be able to come here and then get through the golf swing. If we don't have good hip internal and external rotation, then what happens? And I'm going to face the camera this way. We start going this way. We start swaying and sliding. And what happens then is that we get here, we're not rotating, we get here, we try to get back here, and we're either hitting the ball all the way that way, or we're going to come over the top because we can't rotate, and we're going to pull it left.
Is that what I do? Do I? Because I
no,
always
you go right.
I always
you go right. Yeah, you don't get through the hips yet. We're going to get there. Couples night coming up at Geneva. All right, so that's the 5-minute, not even 5-minute version of the biomechanics of the golf swing. So what all is needed? We talk about how important the hips are. We talk about how important thoracic rotation is. So where we're going to go with this is, I'll go ahead and take a stick, and you're going to take a stick as well.
Okay.
We're going to adjust the cameras maybe. Keep going, keep talking. All right, we're going to adjust the cameras a little bit. So where we can go, and generally it's from the ground up. Ankle mobility is key when we get into squats. If we're not able to have good ankle mobility, it can affect some things up the chain into the hips. But what we're going to do first is we're going to basically we're going to take this short stick, and we do this not only in our golf class but also in our normal stick mobility class. Stick's going to be right in the middle of your stance, and we're going to
my hip width.
Hip width. Yep.
Okay.
Soft knees. Pull. Plant the stick. Two things happening: squeezing. That irradiates tension all the way up through the shoulder where we need it, and we're going to plant this stick into the ground. all of a sudden what that has done is allowed us to lock in the upper body. So we were talking about disassociation. So what we can do now is understand what it means that as we plant, that we're keeping the upper back still, but now we're able to rotate.
Now, are my knees going with, or am I?
The knees travel a little bit.
Okay.
In the golf swing, I mean, we're working the knees a little more.
Now, you always talk about cueing about a piece of paper. Is that staying active within the feet?
The way we're able to really get the hips and even the glutes active is pretending, and you can do this at home, even if you're watching this at the office, we won't tell your boss, I promise, that if you go feet width apart and pretend you're standing on a piece of paper, I want you to feel as if you're going to rip that paper in half, and all of a sudden automatically become active.
Okay.
And gets you a feeling that you probably haven't felt ever in regards to that. So that's one of the activation techniques we can use for the glutes and the hips.
Okay.
So see, we've talked about being able to disassociate the hips from the upper body. One that we also like to do is we're going to have, let's see, I'm going to have you standing over here.
Okay. Am I facing front or facing?
You're going to face the front.
Okay.
And we're still going to do that same position right here. Now, that right foot, we're going to do internal and external rotation. We're going to lock in the hips, but that femur head that comes into our hips, this is the motion that we're trying to get. We're going to try to get, we're going to try to get it a little bit more fluid in its motion. And so what that means is that we're going to work through that right foot, and I want you to squish the bug with that right foot. And so now we're going to internally rotate. And then squishing that bug, we're going to externally rotate. And internally rotate. Proper hip function is going to help us out in golf. So now, what I also look at is Autumn able to control this left hip? So if you had a laser pointer, this is going right towards the camera, can this hip stay stable and not move?
Can we also talk about, I recommend socks. Definitely wear socks.
Definitely wear socks on cold floors?
On cold floors, yes.
So if you try, I want you to try to get all the rotation you can. And so now what happens is that as she went that way, you saw the hip open up that way, and then as she comes internally rotating, that hip started to rotate back. It's like, whoo, look at all what I got here. Well, what actually do you have because you've lost this hip? We're only looking for our true rotation, and we're achieving that because we've locked down the upper body. We've locked this down. At impact, what we do, we put a foam roller against the wall. We hold that right here, so that hip can't go anywhere.
You made me really think about that, because all of a sudden you mentioned that, and I was like, whoa, I did do that. Then
exactly. And so, but the left hip was compensating to say, hey buddy, I got you. We're gonna get all this rotation, which is what we don't want. We can do the same thing on the left side. And if you notice, this is basically about the same size as a golf club. If you don't have this at home, you can use PVC. You know, just put it in your car, and you can still do some of these. So, you know, from a warm-up standpoint, what I'm going to suggest is, first off, we're going to do that ripping apart. We're going to get nice and active and strong through the hips, and then we're going to do this one. We're going to start getting rotation through this femur head here into the hip, and then we're also going to do what we showed at the beginning, that now we're locked down on the upper body and we're going to get hips involved. Those are three things that we can do with hips. The next one that we can do is I'm going to take this away. I want you to build an A-frame. So we're going to go a little bit wider. You're going to hinge. So a hinge, quick hinge squat difference. This is a hinge. Knees stay over the ankles. This is a squat. The knee travels over. So when we get into our hinge, soft knees, we're going to hinge, connect the left elbow inside the left leg, and the hand right inside the left knee. Now, we're going to squeeze the knees inward, and now Autumn's going to rotate. And so now, just like we did earlier, locking down the upper body, moving the hips, now we're locking down the hips and mobilizing the thoracic spine. So again, now we're starting to figure out what we can do in regards to our warm-up. The next one I'm going to have you do, excuse me, is I'm going to give you this, and you're going to hold this. Again, use a club and pull the club into the body. You're going to get into a lunge.
Oh, I'm lunging. Okay.
Yep, you're going to get into a lunge, forward lunge. Now we talk about energy into the ground. We're going to try to push the ground away. So this foot driving straight down as if we're pushing the earth away. What that does, it brings strength and stability in through the hip. We do the same thing through the toe. And now we're going to rotate into, and we can go away as well. Rotating away. Now, at impact, when we do this, what I look for, how are the hips reacting? And because we have energy down through the ground, we're creating that stability and strength through the hips. And we're going to show you what not to do. And so as you're coming in, boop, all of a sudden you open up. That's the dancer in her, she can do that. But that's what we don't want. That's a compensation movement, and we're not strong here nor here to be able to keep us in that position. So again, that's number 4. The next one we're going to do shoulder mobility. We're going to get into our hinge. So we're going to get into our hinge, and we're going to get into a little bit, a lot more of a hinge, almost as if we're deadlifting. We're going to hold the stick right here.
Okay. Am I going just past hip width?
Yep, just past hip width,
Okay.
That's fine. So we're going to hinge. We're going to get into, from here, now, we're going to squeeze. We're going to pull this stick apart. We're going to lengthen it. And then we're going to come overhead. And then, still pulling that stick apart, coming back down. So now, we're getting strength and stability through the hips. We're getting more shoulder mobilization. Those are just 5 things that we can do in regards to a prep time. I don't have a clock on and how long that took, and I'm talking 5 reps each side, but I guarantee you that that is 5 minutes probably. And we're not just running through it. We're not going through the motions. We are being efficient and consistent and effective. Well, I said that twice, not being redundant though, but we're being effective and conscious of our movements, because there again, where we don't want to be here in our swing, that speaks to a lot more of our core, from our hamstrings to our lats. That's a different discussion. But if you were to do those 4 prior to playing, I'm not going to say you're going to go out and beat Tiger Woods every time. But your ability to be able to swing, you will feel it different. And all of a sudden, maybe you're creating more backswing rotation, and with that, more power. And as a golfer, that's what we're looking for. We're looking to hit the ball farther and hit the ball more consistent. One of the biggest things one of the biggest problems we have in golf, and I raise your hand at home if you know this, if you're a golfer, coming in here, standing up. okay? Why is that? It's called early extension. We get here, all of a sudden we stand up, we hit the bottom groove of the golf ball, or bottom groove of the club, and the ball maybe goes about 3 feet high and dribbles off to the left or right. Because that is our inability to be able to rotate, use the ground to our benefit, and be able to rotate through. We come here and we go, whoop. We stand up, and then we get frustrated. So that's why hip rotation, thoracic rotation, that disassociation we talked about is so important in a golf swing. Again, one time, one monkey does not a parade make. One time doing it isn't going to make you a rock star golfer. Consistency. Do it in the morning. Even if you don't play golf, do these same movements in the morning. I don't have time to go play golf. I'm going to hit some range balls. Do this. And then why not spend another 5 minutes afterwards? Just don't throw your last club in the bag and throw it in the trunk. Why not spend another 5 minutes to be able to go through those same movements?
Creates a wind down.
Absolutely. You're cooling down your body. You're just not giving it the shock of stopping. We can do a lot. If you're a walker when you golf, we want to take care of ankle mobility and golf and our calves. I would highly suggest finding stairs to be able to create some stretch through the calves. You know, even just being able to
The heel raises.
get into a heel raise, find that step, and I don't have a step here, but then be able to create that negative space, if you will, that wonderful stretch through the calf. Recovery from golf is just as important as prepping for golf. You know, you young golfers out there, just because you think that you're young, I'm talking like high school golfers, you know, on my boys team,
And girls.
team.
You are the boys and girls now.
That just because you're young doesn't mean you don't have to warm up.
Yeah.
And cool down. We get into this mentality of go, go, go. I got to go from here to here to here, and we forget the very simple things that will help us out as we go forward. So that was a lot in a small amount of time, but those are the things that we talk about not only in stick mobility class, but in our golf performance class. Doing personal training for golf, it runs the gambit of what we can offer at Impact. I want you as a golfer to be the best golfer you can be. I want you to be able to be pain-free as a golfer. But even I want you to be pain-free
Every day.
every day. If you're a chairborne ranger, you know this and your low back hurts all the time, we want to help you. You don't have to come in and say, oh, I can't lift all of this weight. We don't care. We want you to move better. Then we'll start talking about adding a little weight and progressing you through there. So, I mean, I'd love to hear from you guys in regards to what we do, especially how stick mobility can work for you. The last stick mobility movement I want to show you. Do you use the 6 or the 7 foot for slap shot?
The 6.
6 foot. All right.
The 7 looks like it's half my height.
Very true. I'm sorry.
You're dying.
Dry cough.
You're okay.
So this is one of my favorites. This is called slap shot. And again, this is what we do in class. We don't necessarily have to do this on the golf course, but we did it of sorts when we built that little that A-frame and did this rotation. So again, strong grab through the feet, soft knees. We're going to hinge back. The stick is right in the middle of the back. So what we're going to do is that we're going to rotate down, and of course, she goes towards that left foot because she has the mobility. If you're right here or right there, not a big deal because we're still going to do the same thing. We're going to push down with that right hand. We're going to pull up with that left hand. Guess what? We are active through the posterior chain back here in the upper shoulders. Now, I want to have you still pull that apart, and we're going to rotate the left hand down to the ground.
What did you just say?
Bring the left hand down. Rotate.
What do you mean?
Nope.
Oh, switch sides.
left, right.
Okay.
Push the left hand down, pull the right hand up. So what this is doing is also opening up the shoulder. In life, as we're on our phones, as we're at our monitors, our posture, it sucks. Our posture begins around the shoulders. This begins to open everything up. So there again, we're keeping the hips locked, but we're gaining thoracic rotation. And then come back up. That is just one of the many things that we can do with stick mobility. You don't have to be of a certain age. Any age can work with stick mobility. If you've never worked out before, no big deal. If you're more of the older crowd, 60s, 70s, 80s, does not matter. Stick mobility can be modified for your success, and that's where my certifications come in, to be able to say, okay, if we can't necessarily do this yet, we'll be able to, let's back this off, or maybe we advance it a little bit. And yeah, so I invite everybody, contact us and come out and try this.
Easy way to go is 10:30 a.m. every Saturday at Geneva. It's either, once you walk in through the door, there will be always a sign telling you where the class is taken. It's open for anyone, so it's a great opportunity to come try it out and talk to Scott in regards to stick mobility, or if you want to just start within your own personal movement journey.
And so we can understand class sizes. By all means, if you know a member at Geneva, contact them and say, hey, I was thinking about this class. Or Shanda at Geneva, you can call the main office there and sign up. We'd love to have you. Love to have you experience what stick mobility is and what it's about. And yes, it can help your golf game, but it also can help you in life, can help your office game. How about that?
Well, thank you for coming. And one, thank you for putting up with me. And, you know, it's great to see you again, even though I see you all the time. But remember, tomorrow, 9 a.m., join me. So I'm going to go hang out with the Police Academy class, hang out with the high schoolers, see about everything that they've learned in this past week. I'm kind of excited. I saw some pictures. So you can see it also on the Muscatine Facebook page and also the Muscatine Police Department Facebook page. See what they've been learning. So join me tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thank you for coming, and thank you for hanging out with me again. So 10:30 every Saturday at Geneva. Come hang out with Coach Scott, and you'll be able to mobilize and de-junk from the week using the stick mobility. Remember, he is the one and only in the state of Iowa with this, so knows quite a bit about it. Anyways, thank you guys for hanging out with us. I hope you have a happy and healthy Wednesday, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.
We've all been through a lot together, and along the way, you'll find out who really cares for you and who you can trust. Because there's a lot of stuff that happens in life, like those days when the amazing happens, or those days that are really, really hard. That's why you need someone like Unity Point Health. Because when it comes to your health, you gotta have someone you can trust. Unity